All right. Good morning. So we're talking about coordinate planes, but before we do that, let's do a review warm up. The same number goes in both lengths. So the opposite of negative 45 class is 45, and what do those words mean? Absolute value, and a number's absolute value is talking about very good, how far it is, or that distance from zero. And the absolute value of 45 is 45. Very good. Okay, the opposite of 16 is negative 16. And, okay, so pause. How do we approach one of these kinds of problems? You see them now, so I want y'all to tell me how I approach this. Give me a second. How do I approach these, Shivani? Okay, so you're saying the final answer would be positive or negative. Okay, do we agree, or does someone have a different thought process? Andrew, what do you think? Okay, yeah, so this one's different because it has the straight bar lines. Y'all both said to start on the inside, so I start with that absolute value of negative 16 class, which is 16. Remember, those bars, it's like a washing machine. It cleans off whatever's inside, so it's 16. But that negative drops down and makes it negative. That is not to be confused with this. Okay, what's different about this? Someone tell me what's different about this, Carolyn? Because they are curved, right? Okay, and Carolyn, what would this do?
Well, all it's going to do is going to make it the opposite of what it is.
Yeah, it's going to make it the opposite of negative 16. Okay, it's still, I know it's going to be tricky for a while. Okay, you just have to keep practicing it to get better. So this is negative 16. And again, a clue is that both numbers, the same number is in both points. So it is negative 16 and 20. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and hop into the notes today. We're talking about the coordinate plane, the coordinate grid. Where else do we see this? We don't just see this in math class. Where else do we see these things? Oh, okay, Battleship, because you turned the paper over. But maybe in a different class, have y'all done like graph type things? Science, right? Don't y'all do like independent, and you graph your data in science class? Yeah. I mean, before, like in the previous years, maybe? Maybe? Okay, maybe not. Okay, like where y'all, I'm going off the page real quick. Y'all have a graph and then it says like time and money. Have y'all done a graph like that before? Yes, okay, you have, okay? And we talked about the two like number lines. Do y'all remember what this is called? My x-axis, and this is my y. So I'm just gonna, again, I'm not on the note right now, but I'm just reviewing what we should know. On these numbers, what do we know about these numbers? Sometimes it's at different intervals, but they're all positive values, and with the y, those are all, no, they're actually positive as well. Okay, I know you're like, positive, negative. You tried, and I love it. Okay, so those bars, the x-axis and y-axis are really number lines. Okay, so let me recalibrate. Let me pause my lesson real quick. All right, so this right here, it's hard to see on mine. Maybe, yeah, it's a little bolder on yours. Okay, but this right here is my x-axis, and then right here is my y. I'll put a little label next to it, my x-axis, and this is my y. Now, usually we're dealing in this top right corner, right? Okay, that's where we're familiar with, but there's actually 4 parts to this grid. Okay, what we notice about this grid is that it's sort of like a number line. Like we have our positive numbers over here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What number would go right here? 0. But then what would happen this way? It's negative because it's like a number line, right? Okay, so it's -1, -2, -3, all that stuff, and so on and so forth. Okay, same thing with the y-axis. Starting at that center point, that's my 0, and then going up, it's positive values, right? And then when I go down from 0, that would be negative values. Okay, so there's really 4 parts to this grid. Okay, so a coordinate plane is formed when the x-axis, that is our horizontal line, and the y-axis intersect at the 0 points. Okay, the axes are separated, they separate the coordinate plane into 4 regions, and those 4 regions are called quadrants. Okay, everyone say that word? Quadrant, very good. I have these problems taking over a little bit. Okay, where do we see 4 in that word? Quad. Okay, quad means 4. So it's 4 parts. Okay, so we always start when we label the quadrants. We give them a number. Okay, there's 4 quadrants, and we number them 1, 2, 3, 4. But they're labeled in a special way because they're special cupcakes. Don't ask me why they are labeled in this way, but they are. Okay, just go with it. I'm sorry. Okay, so the first quadrant is the one that you start out with learning. And it's going to be this first one right here. When I label it though, we use Roman numerals. Okay, those are those old numbers. Maybe that's why maybe it was for you back then. But we use a Roman numeral 1 to label this first quadrant. Okay, that's where we start, and then we go in a what's that? Counterclockwise motion. So this is going to be my second quadrant, my third quadrant, and my fourth quadrant. Okay. Now, if you have a highlighter, I'm going to give you a little second. Go ahead and grab a highlighter. On the place you need to. All right, we got our highlighter. Now, the way that you remember this, okay, there's a voice that you say this in. This is a very crucial part of this lesson, so get ready. Okay, I'm glad we saved this for a Friday. So it's in a weird order, and if you connect the dots is a little weird, but if you start at this one and you go around, what letter does it make? A C. I usually put an arrow on it, so it's sometimes a G, but that's how you remember what order it is right there. Okay, and I call this, okay, y'all ready? The big C. Okay, so everyone say that, just like I said it. Ready, set, go. The big C. One more time with more The big C. Okay, very good. So now you're going to remember that forever, because Miss Lytle's voice is going to haunt you that night. Okay, I had a kid come up to me after he'd taken the STAR last year. He's like, "Oh, there was a quadrant question," and guess what I thought of? I said, "Love it." He said, "The big C." I was like, "You're welcome." So you're welcome. It makes a big C. It starts in that top quadrant and goes around in that order. Again, we use Roman numerals to label them, and you will actually talk about those Roman numerals up until high school. Okay, so let's make some observations about those quadrants. If I was looking at quadrant 1, what do we notice about my x-coordinates? All my x-coordinates in this area are going to be what kind of numbers? They're going to be positive numbers. And my y-axis is going to be positive as well. Okay? So an example of a number that would go there is, let's say, I'm just going to put a random point. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to say like this is a point. Okay? So let's practice writing the coordinates for that. Remember, when we write the coordinates, there's 2 numbers. There's your x-coordinate, comma, your y-coordinate. It's like alphabetical order, okay? And whenever you graph a number, you always start at this center point. This center point, does anyone know what it's called? It has a name for it. The origin. We always start at the origin, and we have to go left and right, and then up and down. So I go over how many spots? 5. So my x is going to be 5. And then from there, I go up 3. Okay? Let's go into quadrant number 2. Okay, so over here. I'm just going to grab a random point. Let's do this one. Okay, so again, we always start at the what class? Origin, and I go left and right first. So I go backwards. Since I'm going backwards on this number line, my negative, the number is going to be negative. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be negative 5, comma, I'm going up, so it's going to be positive 1. We good with that? Okay, so we notice that all my x-coordinates in that group are going to be negative, and all my y's are going to be positive. All right, are y'all getting the hang of it? Yes. Okay, let's do this one right here. That's going to be my third quadrant. Take a second, see if you can write the ordered pair for that. Okay, see if you can write the ordered pair for that quadrant 3 point. Okay. Starting at the origin, I have to go left 1, so that's going to be -1, and then down. Okay, so that ordered pair, it's also called an ordered pair, -1, comma, -4. Okay, now real quick, is that the same thing as -4, comma, -1? No. Okay, that's in a completely different place. That would be -4, comma, -1. That would be over here. Those two are different. So that order does matter. Okay, all of my x values in that third quadrant are going to be what sign? All of them are going to be negative and negative, negative. It's like the polar opposite of quadrant 1. And then lastly, for the fourth quadrant. Okay. All of my x values are going to be positive. All my y values are going to be negative. Steven, you want to give me a random point in there? That'd be fine. Give me a positive x and a negative y. Just a random number. Oh, yeah. There you go. He's going to plot it. Don't get too picky. Beautiful. Okay, let's find Steven's point. Thank you, sir. Okay, go ahead, write that coordinate. Okay. Will, do you have that coordinate? 5, comma. It's going down, so it's going to be. It is 5, but it's -1, 2, 3. It's -3. I know I put you on the spot there. Good job. Okay, 5, comma, -3. Are we good with that? Cool, cool. We're going to practice more of those coordinate stuff in a second. So again, the x-axis is our horizontal, right? Are we good with that? That was what he said. Horizontal. That's our horizontal. I always remember horizontal goes like the H. Horizontal number line, and our y-axis is our vertical. Okay? Where the x and y-axis intersect is called the, everyone say that? Origin. Where it originates. Origin. Okay? This is the blank are points located on the graph and represented by the x, comma, y. This is called ordered pairs. Ordered pairs. Miss Lionel called it another name too. Coordinates. Okay. Coordinates, ordered pairs, same thing. Quadrants are always labeled using Roman numerals. And to help us remember how our quadrants are labeled, remember what was that class? Come on. Okay, so as we said, as Ms. Little's already sort of talked about, to graph ordered pairs, we always start at the origin. Okay, what is the ordered pair for the origin? If it's right here, what is my x value and my y value? Yep, the 0, 0. My origin is always 0, 0. We go to the distance and direction of your x coordinate. So is that going to be up and down or left and right? The x coordinate, the x values are left and right, left or right. And then from there, you go to the distance of your y coordinate, which would be up and down. If you want to add a little symbol, okay, if I'm moving left, my coordinate is going to be positive or negative? Negative. Okay, so if you want to put negative, and moving right would be positive. If I'm moving up, that would be, if I'm moving up on my y-axis, that would be positive, and if I'm moving down, that would be negative. Okay? So I'm going to let y'all practice. I'll do one of these with you, and then you help me practice. Plot the ordered pairs on the graph above, and then say what quadrant they belong in. So I'm going to start with point in. It says at -3, 5. So again, I always start where? I always start at my origin. Class, where do I always start? The origin. Okay, that first number, -3, tells me to move in what direction? Left. 1, 2, 3. And the 5 tells me to move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to put point M right there. So it's asking me what quadrant that goes in. So what quadrant is that? Ooh. Okay, and I'm going to use that Roman numeral. Go ahead and do the rest of them. And pause and play when you're ready at home. All right, let's look at point P. Okay, that's at -2, 4. Where do I always start? The origin. -2 tells me to move left 2, and then 4 tells me to move up. Okay, so that's point P, which is in quadrant 2. Very good. Okay, you can also, some people do memorize, oh, if it's negative, positive, that's going to be in quadrant 2. I don't memorize it. I can just find it every single time. Up to you then. Okay, Q and S for those, some of those weird ones. 0, -4. Okay, 0, -4. The 0 tells me that I'm not going to move which direction. I'm not going to move left or right. I'm staying right there. The only thing that tells me to move is that -4, which tells me to move down 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little weird, but you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. That was point Q. Now the question is, what quadrant is it in? Is it in 3? Is it in 4? The answer is neither. Okay, it's in no. It's in no quadrant. It's on which axis? It's on the y-axis. Okay, so technically you would put none. You're going to put none. You're going to put none, and then you can also add in there y-axis. It's just on. It's sitting on that y-axis. Okay. Going to 0, 5. So again, 0, 5 tells me I'm not moving left or right, but the 5 tells me to move up. Okay, so again, it's not in 1 or 2. It's not in either quadrant, but it is where? On the y-axis. Okay, I'm pretty sure it'll say none, but just in case it might ask you the y-axis. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and change your answer for R, take a little look-see. Where would that be? Write down what you think. Okay, so -6, 0. Let me erase these points. -6, 0. What letter was that? Let me label these. I'm going to label them like I should be. This is point S. Okay, so -6. I always start at the where? Origin. -6 tells me to move left 6, and then up 0 or down 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be right there, and that is point number letter R. So what's our answer for that? None or XX. That's very good. Yeah. We wouldn't put both of them, or I would clarify for you. Okay? And then T5, 6. I see that both of them are positive, so it's going to be where? Quadrant. No. Gucci Gucci's? Yes, all right, cool. So now we get to play a game. Let's go. Okay, get excited, get pumped. Okay, this game is Battleship, so if you have played Battleship, you're out of the advantage. If you haven't played it, I'm going to explain it. Okay? What's going to happen, Battleship, how it works is it's a partner game. It's a 2-person game. Hopefully we have partners. I think we're going to be just exactly good. What you're going to do first is you're going to plot your ships, and these are your ships that you have, and they tell you how long or tall they are. I'm moving this around so I can do an example. Okay, so this is my coordinate grid. Okay, and so my aircraft carrier is 5 points. Now in Battleship, they either have to be vertical or horizontal. You can't have it diagonal. But I'm going to say, like, I'm going to plot 5 points, and they have to be like next to each other. So I might say that like 1, 2, 3, or 5, that might be my aircraft carrier. Don't put it in the same place that Miss Miles is like, we're just gonna do that. Okay, so I might say that you might label it like aircraft carriers, AC, something like that. And then you're gonna plot your battleship. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my battleship. My cruiser is 3 points. 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Y'all got that? That's your first step. You have to plot your points. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna find your partner and y'all are gonna start attacking each other. And by attacking, I just mean that you're gonna write down a coordinate that you want to aim at. Okay, so let's say I'm playing with Miss Navali, and she says, I'm gonna attack you at 3, 2. That's her recording sheet. She's recording where she's hit. I look at my board and I say, okay, at 3, 2, is that a hit or a miss? That's a miss, and so she didn't actually hit it. Okay, or maybe, okay, I'm trying to explain this better. That's mine. Maybe I'm aiming at first, and I tell her 3, 2. She's gonna look at her battleship, and she's gonna be like, oh, that was a hit, and I would be like, ooh, I know where one of her ships is. Okay, and I might mark, okay, that was a hit, that was a hit, that was a hit, and then I stop her off. Does that make sense? Y'all take turns taking aim at their people. Oh, this has to do a check if it was a hit. Yes, sir. Why is there 2 columns? Because if that's not enough, then you go to the next column. Okay? Kayla? So this is where I have my boats, and this is where I'm going to record what I aim at my partner. Okay? Well, so like my cruiser, you would have to hit it 3 times on each of the coordinates. So maybe Miss Navali hits me here, and then she takes aim up here, but that didn't hit my ship. But she figures out, oh, I need to go this way. After all 3 hits are gone, then that has stopped. Okay, and then you have to sing the aircraft carrier, you have to sing all the boats. You don't know. That's the mystery of Battleship. You don't know if it's the long one or the short one. Well, you'll have to put the smallest one is 2, and they don't tell you, oh, you sunk my patrol boat. Okay, so you might be like, oh, got that taken care of. Now I'm looking for the other one. That's what it says on that list. Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah. Your goal is to sink all of their ships. Yeah. You're going to put all of those on yours, and then you're trying to sink all of their battleships. Okay. So okay. So here's like an example of one done already. Okay. So like this is where I'm taking aim. These are where my ships are plotted. They hit 2 of my ships, but none of them are sunk. And then I'm aiming up here for their ships. Does that make sense? There's my enemy ships, my ships. And you're going to take turns. Okay, you'll sort of have to play it, and then you'll be like, oh, I get it. Okay, and then tonight, your only homework is if you want to do those Imagine Map benchmark, not the benchmark, the Imagine Map lessons, those are due next Wednesday to help you get some bonus points. Okay, so y'all partner up. I would get an office so y'all can't see each other's paper and where your ships are. So I'll have fun. Ready to go.